even though the risk reward is quite different in this matchup than it would be in Marth Falco. But we finally do get to see Drew on the big screen as he foretold. And I think we're going right into it. So again, Drew likes being in your face a little bit more. I've more recently seen him go for interesting drill rest options. I don't know if he's still trying that. I'm also curious to see what Moburu does in this matchup, because it's definitely not one for Marth that you can be too aggressive in. You might find yourself off stage really early if you do. But so far, managing to maintain a lead, being very cognizant of Drew and his options coming in and spacing well. Managing to snipe him with the forward smash, actually. So maybe my analysis was completely off. Drew seemingly the one that is falling prey to the aggression instead of the Marth. But even as I say that, Drew just pulling out the classic, just waiting for Marth to come in swinging. And instead of inviting Jigglypuff into his loving arms, Marth finds himself being rested. Goes for a weird rest setup there, however, and dies for it. I know that as soon as Drew gets one rest, he likes to go for more. And I know that Marth has an answer for it, as we just saw. So, curious to see... Ooh, I was half expecting a drill rest. Which I know is not the truest of setups. But Drew showing a little bit more restraint than I've seen in the past. Which is interesting. Also, notably, not as many pounds in neutral. But Moburu doing a good job of kind of waiting for Drew to come in. Drew does come in after like every 3 or 4 swings. Maybe even sooner. I think Moburu has been like pretty steadfast and kind of, yeah, maintaining position and just reacting. At least these last 2 stocks. Air clips, I'm not going to do it quite yet. I love that. I love the forward tilt option with that Marth's do on the edge. I think it covers so much. I think it also covers the ledge itself as well, the hitbox. I really think that just a setup for either to set up for like either kill directly on floatier characters, or even just like set up for an easy edge guard on spaces. I think forward tilt the move. It's the wave. It covers like so many height options all by itself, and I think also the ledge. Again, another interesting rest attempt coming out from Drew. The stage will save his life this time, however. A little bit early on the back air. And Moburu content with letting him back on stage. Interesting. I feel like there's something Marth could have potentially done there. Maybe just didn't want to risk it off stage versus Jigglypuff. Just content with swinging at her on stage and reacting to Drew coming in. Moburu doing an excellent job, by the way, in the scrambles. That was insane. I think someone ought to clip that. That was insane. Willie P saying that he's a bit of a Drew fan himself. I am too, but I think he might need to make a few adjustments. A little something tells me he might need to make a few adjustments. That's how it starts. But he's got a long way to go if he wants any hope to at least bring it close to this game. That's how it starts. That's definitely what I'm looking for. It's just a little TI dependent, so it'll be a little tricky to probably read, I think, especially with Marth. If he lands one more, though, suddenly it's an even game. suspect that he'll be trying to at least go for one more of them. But that was an opportunity for a pound there, actually. Goes for forward air instead. Moburu playing a little bit slower pace. I think Drew has been taking a little bit of advantage of that, just by getting in his face a little bit more and throwing out some moves. Definitely worked for him a little while. But there are just some key moments where Moburu is just insane in the scramble and just obliterates Drew's stock. I want to see that one. I think the Drew's second to last stock? No, is second stock that Moburu took. It's insane. It's like 3 aerials into down air spike into forward, like tipper forward smash, and just kill. Drew getting the early rest to start things off. Now he gets to set the pace. But again, Moburu very content on just reacting to Drew's spacing. Knows that, and I think he's picking some pretty good opportunities to come in himself. Drew, however, getting the rest read to keep the advantage. Yeah, so not as many drill rests. Oh wow! Drew now is turning something on. He's going for some insane reads. Getting a little overzealous there. But you know, some of the rest reads are working out for him now. Definitely bringing him a solid lead this third game. That third rest was honestly kind of psychopathic. I mean, like, how do you read a grab like that? Ooh, interesting. I think tumbled off the platform when he wasn't expecting to, and just doesn't throw anything out. Here we go. Now Drew's playing a little bit more patient, recognizing that, you know what, you have to come to me. Messes up a little bit there, but he has the idea that, you know what, you have to come to me if you want to close out this game, and I'm going to take full advantage of that. Drew in rare form, playing the patient game. Just like that, takes game 3. Looking to be a bit of a chat favorite. If I'm Moburu, I imagine an FT pick, but instead we're getting Yoshi's. Understandably, you want the quick kills, but I think also, you know, it doesn't make too much of a difference. Jigglypuff also get those. I just think that, you know, FT is a little too strong against Jigglypuff in many of these matchups. I think she gets some mileage off of some of the platforms. However, Yoshi's is a lot more close quarters, so perhaps Marth has more coverage of those. Unfortunate SD there from Moburu. Again, now Drew gets to set the pace, and he is definitely doing so. He's definitely creating some no-fly zone situations for Moburu, recognizing that Moburu's been the one that's been reacting to him, but now that he gets to set the pace, he doesn't have to go in. Oh my goodness, reads the wake-up option with a rest. And gets no punish for it. Unfortunate TI from Moburu means that Drew gets to get off scot-free. And we'll see what kind of adjustment Moburu makes. I mean, Marth can cover a decent amount of space on this stage, but Drew it's all Drew right now. His punishes are starting to come alive. He's picking his spots a lot better. And most importantly, he's just holding his own and his position and not letting Moburu come in. stark change from the aggression we saw before. Interestingly, tries to cover like an early up B with the Nair. Doesn't quite get it. But a forward smash will close it out. Ooh, I felt that there was a rest setup in there somewhere, but Drew, I think, just content not necessarily blowing a rest on that. Just content on racking up damage. I like this. Less commitment. Playing melee as God intended. Now he's catching on to Moburu, throwing out these wild forward smashes, and he's taking full advantage of that. I think if I'm Moburu, I'd like to see less of those. It definitely invites Jigglypuff to come in pretty quickly. You go back in the chat for Drew. And I can say this now that it's officially Game 5, but Force You Can Drive, another Marth main, signaling that Drew hates FD, and, you know, I personally would agree is someone that, you know, at least knows Puff somewhat. I think Puff hates FD generally. Drew is definitely improving, however. Definitely one of the newer up-and-comers, perhaps the next Jaw, and he's showing it. Really, really keen to the failed grab attempts in this matchup. Looking very solid in that department. He's been getting a lot of those. Oh, I like. Oh my god, if he does more of these platform cancel aerials, I mean, I feel like that's Puff's. That's the future of Puff, right? If he does more of those, mixing up Marth's shield like that, I think it's scary. I mean,